Before I got started with the machining portion of this video, I just wanted to, I happened to catch this on film. I'm using my Heimer 3D taster to indicate off of the top, face, and side of the vice jaw, so you can kind of get an idea of how I indicate my axes. By the way, that's my son Luke crying in the monitor. He, I guess, just woke up from his nap. For all of those interested, he's still doing fine. He goes every 3 months for his checkups and scans and everything to make sure he's still, cancer-free and he's not relapsing. But so far, so good. He's doing great. He just turned 2 in December, and sometimes he just wakes up grumpy, so that's just the way it is. I'm down in the garage, but I have my baby monitor to where I can see him while he's taking a nap, and I can go down into the garage and work and still keep an eye on him. Here's a few pictures of him from last spring, a couple of months after he finished chemo. And his hair was starting to come back. This will be a pretty short video because this was just kind of an experiment leading up to my next project. So before I get too far into what I'm doing, I'll just explain what's going on immediately. Basically, since I don't have a bandsaw yet, I'm cutting a piece of 14mm square aluminum stock to 6.1 inches because I want to cut this into a number of cubes, 8 cubes to be exact, and I'm testing to see what kind of tolerance I can hold just chopping it up with an 1/8 inch end mill to basically not waste as much material in chips, because eventually this is going to be titanium. Right now I'm just squaring it. I'm taking some skim passes with the face mill, and so I'll machine one side, I'll flip it over, I'll machine another side just to have a good surface finish and make sure it's nice and flat. Then I'll flip it over again, and I'll actually machine it down to its actual dimension, which will be 12mm. And I think I mentioned before, this is a 14mm bar stock. So the next pass is going to be a pretty deep depth of cut, deeper than what I'm used to cutting any kind of metal. And you can kind of see as it comes out of the other end how deep that was in the aluminum. Probably not deep to most people, but to me that was like, wow, that spindle didn't even think about bogging down. So that was kind of exciting. Right here I'm actually cutting the cubes out using this 1/8 inch end mill. So what I determined doing it this way is that with that 1/8 inch end mill, I can hold tolerance to within about 1.7 thousandths, which was pretty much totally unacceptable for what I'm trying to do with it, but that's fine. These are just kind of rough cuts. But in retrospect, this was not an economical way to machine this, so I kind of abandoned this idea in favor of something else, which I'll show in the next video. I won't bother explaining too much about what I'm trying to do here because I didn't end up pursuing this, but I'm just doing a 1/4 radius. And I think on a few of them I did a chamfer, which I must not have filmed. So I flip it over, I clamp it again in the vise, and I cut it out this way. Really kind of stupid way to do things, but this was just kind of an experiment. And I'm using aluminum here just because that's what I had, but ultimately these will be made out of titanium, which I'll show in the next video. So stay tuned.